We've talked about a couple different types of data that you're going to be working with inside of your programs. We've talked about strings. We've talked about numeric types like integers and floats. Okay, there's a few other different types that we really should discuss. We'll get into those as we continue through the course. For right now, I want to switch gears just a little bit, still related, but we're going to talk about casting. There's going to come times when you want to be able to take a value and cast it as another type of value. You may have a string type that contains a numeric value, but Python is treating it like a string. I want to be able to treat it like an integer. So we'll cast the string type into an integer. Take a look. So open in front of you, I've got the command window, and I'm going to create a variable here. I'll just call it A, and I'm going to give it a value of 3. Okay. There we have it. So A now contains 3. Oh, wait, but I put quotes around it. What does the quotes mean? If I print this out, remember the type, and I print out A, well, what type is A? We can see it's of type class string. It's a string data type. Well, I want that to be an integer. I want to be able to treat it like an integer. I don't want to treat it like a string. So this is where casting comes into play. So I'm going to bring in int, and I'm going to pass it the variable that contains the string 3. So I pass in A. I'm going to hit my enter key here. There's the 3. No quotes around it, right? It's just a number 3. Now, what if I print out, oops, spell that right. What if I print out A? What do you think I'm going to get? I'm going to hit my enter key here. There's my 3. Okay. Well, if I print out the type for A, hit my enter key again, it's still treating it as a string. When I did the casting, I cast it just for that instance. Just for that instance. It's just that instance. If I do this, if I say print, cast, let's type, sorry, print, type, cast, there's a lot going on in here. Oh, not cast. Int, I want to cast it as an int. What do I want to cast? I want to cast the A. Let's close all of my parentheses there. I open one, open one, open one. So I close 3. Now, what did it do before? It was a class string, but I'm going to hit my enter key, and now it's a class int. I'm able to take what was a string and turn it into an integer. Well, what if I reverse the process? What if I've got a variable, let's just call it B, and I make it equal to 3, and now I'm going to say print, and I want to turn that into a string. So I'm going to bring in str, I'm going to pass it B. Now if I do that, it's going to return a 3, okay? But I want to know the type, just so we can see the difference here. If I just give it B right now, there's the 3, and I should have put in the type, print, type B. All right, so it's an integer. Yes, integer. I bring, now I'm going to cast it into a string. Let's see, I'm going to say print, type, str, we'll pass it B, 1, 2, 3. All right, hit my enter key, and now it's as a class string. Okay, so we can take strings, turn them into integers, as long as they are actually an integer to their numeric value, and we can take integers and turn them into strings. Okay? And this is called casting. Now I want to show you one more here. We talked about float earlier, right? Something with a decimal place inside of it. Well, what if I do this? What if I say C is going to be equal to, let's say, 3.4. 3.4. All right, there we have it. So now I'm going to print out its type. We'll print out the type for C. Let's see what we get here. We can see that it's of class type float. It's a float type. All right, now I want to cast that as an integer. All right, let's see. So I'll say print type. We'll say int. We're going to pass it c. Boom, boom, boom. Close all those parentheses there. And I'm going to hit my enter key. So it was a float, 3.4. Now I'm casting it as an integer. I'm taking a float, turning it into an integer. I'm going to hit my enter key. It's now an int. Now let's see, what if I do this? What if I say print int c? So previous one, I wanted to see what type it was because I cast as an int. But now let's actually print that float out as an int. I get back 3. So it's rounded it. It's rounded that value. What if I do this? What if I say c is now equal to 3.6? And I'm going to print that one out as an int. Oops, 2 of them. Yeah. So last time it was 3.4. I converted that float into an int. It rounds to the nearest, right? So it rounded down. Now I'm saying it's 3.6. So it's more than halfway there. I'm going to hit my enter key. Oh, I still got a 3. So it's just chopping it off. Whoosh, just chops it off. And gone. 0.6, 0.4, just gone. So I'm converting those values, whether it's a float into an int, or an int into a string, or a string into an int. I'm using casting in order to do this. Now, there's much more that we can do here. There's a method. Remember the strings that we talked about earlier? This is something else I want you to think about. There's the string where if you pass a numeric value into a string type, like I say, c is now equal to 3 in quotes, 3 is now a string, right? We can treat that like an integer. We can cast it as an integer. But what if you're not sure? Maybe you're getting data from some other system or from a user, and you're not sure what they put in there. Maybe you asked them, you said, please enter a numeric value. And they said, I'm going to put 16 in there, but they type it out, S-I-X-T-E-E-N. They type out the alpha value, right? The text value of that number rather than the actual digits. That's not so good. You're not going to be able to do math and such with that. So we want to be able to confirm whether or not you're actually working with a numeric value. Right? And then we can do some casting on top of that. So back to the string methods. Okay? Something to think about. There's a method in there called isNumeric. I just want to know whether or not this value is numeric. If it is, then I can treat it as numeric. I can cast it as numeric. I can do my math with it and so on. Okay? But we first want to know whether or not it is numeric. That's something we'll try out later on, but I want you thinking about that. And you can even try it out. Okay? But for now, try out some casting. Get in there, create some variables of different types, and then cast them as different. Okay? Try it out.